Hello, you are welcome to the live stream. I'm so sorry we are starting 20 minutes behind schedule. My sincere apologies, okay? Um it was not intentional at all, and I'm going to spare us the details of why that happened, okay? Allow me to do so. All right. Today we are talking about starting a family. When should you give it a thought? Yes, I'm using you because I've started mine. I've given mine a thought years ago, and I've started mine. Okay, all right. So it's I'm going to do small. I have arrived today. All right. So permit me to do that today, but I promise it's going to be just for today. All right. Okay. So you are welcome once again, and my name is Choma Okoli, and I'm the founder of the Expectant Parent Academy. Now, if we are meeting for the first time here, the Expectant Parent Academy is a coaching outfit for pregnant or expectant couples and couples with children within the ages of 0 to 6. Now, you might ask why expectant parents and parents with children with the age or within the age range of 0 to 6. Now, it is that because having been married for 5 years myself and having 3 children, I understand that a lot happened within this space of time. And what I intend to do, or what the Extended Parent Academy is out to do, is to walk parents through this important journey that lays significant foundation in what happens in their family and marriage in the years to come. All right. So today we're talking about starting a family. When should you give it a thought? Okay. When should you give it a thought? And I'd like to specify that this particular video is for three groups of people. Number one is single persons. If you're single, okay, and you're listening to this, you're very lucky because not many of us listened to it, had something like this before we actually started out our own journey. So if you are privileged to be listening to me while you're still single, um, you have a lot to be grateful for, really. Okay, and then the next group of people are people that are courting, okay, people that are in courtship or people that are in a relationship, hoping or looking at taking it further to marriage, and then people who are newly married. Now, I'm bringing in people that are newly married here because um, I've seen a lot of people who are married and they will tell you that, oh, we want to wait for like 2, 3, 4 years, or some will say 5 years before we start having children. And when you ask why, they will tell you that they want to put their finances in place. Okay, want to put their finances in place and then start having children. That having children is expensive. Adding to is going to add to their expenses, going to strain their finances, and what have you. Well, um, I won't tell you if that is right or wrong. By the time we are done with this session, you'll be able to answer that question yourself. I'm not going to I'm not going to give a yes or no answer, okay? But this is something I've heard again and again. And a lot of things that happen give the idea that building a family is something you should do when you have arrived. Okay. And that is the first thing I want us to deal with. Part of the things I want us to deal with in this live stream. Starting a family is not something you do when you have arrived. It is something you do when you have decided to. Okay. And the idea of I have arrived, what is it really? Like, where do you get to when you say I have arrived? I have it all put together. I know what tomorrow is going to be. I have it all under control. Nobody really gets to that point. Okay, nobody really gets to that point. Every one of us, those that have achieved, those that have gotten to the zenith of their career, those that are climbing, and those that are still at the base, every one of us are every one of us is a work in progress. Okay. And so family is something that you should also see as part of you being a work in progress and not something that you do or get into when you have arrived. I hope I've made that point clear enough. All right. By the way, we took a long unannounced break. Okay. Our Monday lives took we've not been on it for a while now. It's intentional. We needed to put a lot of things together. We needed to be sure it's something we'll continue on. Okay, so Monday lives are back, and every Monday by 12 noon, we're going to be discussing something that is really important. So, if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, why now? You want to be missing our Monday lives. Come on. So if you've not subscribed to this channel, do so now. Hit the notification bell so that every Monday when we go live, you get a notification. Even if you miss the live section, you can always catch a replay of what's being discussed and you run from there. Okay. All right. So we've established that this webinar is for singles, people who are cutting, and people who are newly married. So why are we talking about starting a family? That's an intelligent question we should actually start off with. Why are we talking about starting a family? I mean, we're in the era where anybody can stand up, decide to have a baby mama or baby papa. I think we should also have that concept. Okay. Somebody can wake up and decide to have a baby mama or a baby papa, whatever you choose to call it, and have a child, go their way, continue life like nothing has happened. The poor child or poor children should take care of themselves. Whatever happens, that is how life is. The father has got his life to live independent of the child. The mother has got her life to live independent of the child. And so, I mean, the child should figure himself or herself out. So, why are we exactly talking about starting a family? We are talking about starting a family because some people tell you that marriage is not a big deal. Marriage is not a goal, blah, 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 blah. But I'm telling you that marriage is a goal. It may not be the goal, but it is a goal, an important one at that. Okay? There is no big deal about marriage. Scratch that. There is a big deal about marriage because if you marry rightly, the dimension that your life will take, even you will be surprised. Like I'm being surprised right now in my own life. Okay? And one thing I want us to really do is to understand that a lot of people speak from the place of their bad experiences. People speak about things majorly based on the bad experiences they've had or based on the bad stories they've been fed with. So you want to be sure that you're not you're not running the program of your life on the script that is not even correct in the first place. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Please say hi in the chat room. Let me know who has just joined me. Thank you so much. All right. So you do not want to be in that space where you're making important life decisions based on they said, this celebrity said, this other celebrity did, or any of those things. You want to be mindful. You want to sit down and decide the program you run your life with. Because if the question is marriage or starting a family a big deal? Yes, it is a huge deal, a big one at that. Okay, Chagoziem, thank you so much for joining. Thank you. All right, so starting a family is a big deal, and you want to have that. You need to have that fact somewhere ingrained in your brain, somewhere ingrained in your head, so that when you start running, when it comes to making decisions about family, when it comes to making decisions about what to do, what decisions to do, you want to be careful about that. You want to know who you are listening to. All right. So the next question we want to ask is: do I really have to build a family? Um, do I really need to build a family? Well, the answer is yes and no. Yes, if you are family oriented, you're somebody who wants who believes that there is such a thing as marriage, there is such a thing as having children. Okay. I would always say that when you're starting a family, that family is it's about fulfilling a purpose that is higher than you. Okay. When God started okay, let me use the more recent example that we'll be familiar with in the Bible. When God wanted Jesus to be born, he was raising a family. There was a Joseph, there was a Mary, right? He could have just dropped him from heaven and from nowhere he would grow up, right? And then still save the world. And probably he could still be able to save the world and everything will continue. But God wanted Jesus to be born in a family. God wanted Jesus to be born and raised his system. And that system is the system of a family. Now, what Jesus came to do or to actualize is not just about Mary and Joseph. Neither was it just about Jesus. Okay, I'll say that again. What Jesus came to do on earth, or what has done and he's still doing on earth, through the union, the marriage of Joseph and Mary, is not just about Jesus himself, neither was it about Mary and Joseph. And so when you're starting a family, I want you to have it embedded in your mind that this journey is not just about me, it's not just about my child, it's not just about what I want to do, it's about what your family should do. Because there's actually a space for your family in the puzzle of life. So see life as a puzzle. See the family that you're starting. Okay, my husband's name is Ikenna. My name is Choma. So, using the two of us, using my family as an example here, I would say that in the puzzle of life, the family of Choma and Ikenna, the family of Ikenna and Choma Okoli is a piece in that puzzle. And if we don't get fitted into that puzzle of life, the whole puzzle will not make sense or the whole puzzle will not be complete. And I want you to see yourself as that. The people you see that are high achievers, whose families are doing so much and achieving so much, they realized this and they got to work. They bent down and started working. Now, sometimes it could just be you. Like I said, if you're a single person listening to me, you have a lot to be grateful for. Okay. Now, see yourself as that person who is capable of creating something in a family unit that can fit into the puzzle of life, and without which the entire puzzle will not be completed. All right. I would always say that there is enough space for every one of us to shine. And the brighter the room is, right? The brighter the room is, the less chances of darkness overwhelming every one of us, right? So you have a piece, you have a part to play. And we are still trying to answer the question: do you really need to build a family? Okay, is it a big deal? Why give it a thought and all of that? And I'm trying to let us understand why yes, it is. You should. Okay, I remember saying it's a yes and no response. Yes is if you're somebody who is family oriented, please do not go that route. Don't even don't go that route of last year I heard about somebody who advises women just spot one rich man, get pregnant for him, and have your child, and that's all. You because he's a rich man, you're automatically rich, and all of that and all of that. And I laughed. I laughed when I heard that, but I also wept because I saw that some women were actually buying into that concept. It is Pastor Lumide Emmanuel that said that wealth is not sexually transmitted. And I want to reiterate that here. Sex is not sexually transmitted, whether for the male or for the female. And hey, the things I'm talking about isn't just for females, okay? It's for both males and females. So whichever you are, you want to pick where it applies to you and run with it. All right. Okay. So the next thing is we are talking about the question of when should you start giving it a thought, because you first think before you take the action, right? Yes, you don't just think and the action comes into play. So you have to think first and then you take the action. So when should you give starting a family a thought? Chiagozim, can you tell me when do you think you should give starting a family a thought? I'll wait for your answer. It's just the two of us. Yes, I wait for your answer before I start it on. So tell me, when do you think? When do you think? Um, in adolescence, let me give you options. When you become an adult, when you start working, when you secure the bag. I want to hear your opinion. Okay, so I'm looking at the chat box and I'm waiting to um, hear what you have to say. Okay, all right. While I'm waiting for your response, I'm going to continue. While still, I'm still expecting your response because I want to know, I want to see what you think. All right. So the question of when to give it a thought varies for individuals. Okay, um, it will vary based on your sex. I mean, based on your sex, yes, or gender. It will vary. Most importantly, based on how you were raised up, your growing up circumstances or experience. Let me explain. Somebody who grew up in an orphanage home, or somebody who grew up without the presence of his or her parents or parent figure in his life will be more aloof with the concept of what a family should look like, much more than somebody who grew up in the loving embrace and stable structure of a father and a mother and maybe siblings and other extended family members. Okay, so when is different for different persons based on their life circumstance, on their growing up circumstances. All right. So that having been said, I would tell us that we should start giving. Okay, you guess when you're ready. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, when you're ready. Then the question will be, when will you be ready? That should be the next question. When will you be ready? Okay, because I know I was discussing with my with a niece of mine. She's in 300 level. Okay, yes. I'm the last child in my family, so I have nephews and nieces that are adults already. So I was talking with my niece. She should be around 20. Okay, you said when you're ready all round, financially, mentally, spiritually. Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for your response. Okay. All right. So I love your thoughts. I love your thoughts. Let's continue so that we will see where we merge and where we depart if there is going to be a departure. All right. Okay. So I was telling her something, and she was like, "No, that should be like a conversation she will have in 5 years or in a long while." Like she wasn't even sure when it should be. And I laughed. I said, "Okay, no problem, no problem, no problem." And then I'm seeing that the same thought pattern exists in so many persons. There is this pressure of there's this trend of you know we want it all rosy, we want it all perfect, we want it all adding up together and all of that before we take the steps. But the truth is, life is not a linear equation. That's one concept you should know. Life is not straightforward. Okay. So we may never have it all put together. And if you push to have it all put together, by the time you realize yourself, and I'm saying this most especially for men. Yes, I'm saying this most especially for men. By the time you have it all put together and the children now start coming, you will have the money stacked somewhere, but you won't have the growth mindset. Your mind will not be as young as will be more needful to run and lead your family in the direction or in the lane that you should. So let's take for instance, we are building something with concrete. All right, concrete, sand mixed with cement and stone. Okay, so if I will, if there is a freshly made concrete on the floor, I want to place some designs on it. You know, the right time to do that is when the concrete is still wet, right? Yes. As soon as the concrete dries up, I want to place your design on it. I said that design is something you just paste, something that will not be embedded in the concrete. But if the design you want to place is something that has to be embedded in the concrete, I hope you know that as soon as that concrete is dry, you can't place that design anymore. What am I driving at? Our mind is like that concrete. The longer we take before we take the step to do a particular thing, especially in the area of building a farm, the longer we take to start it off, the more difficult it will be for us to accept new ideas, new designs, so to say, or new steps to take us from where we are to where we should be. And for those guys who will say, I want to settle family problems, I want to do this one. Family problems no dey finish. Shebi we know that one. If you didn't know, now I'm telling you, family problem no dey finish. Increasing cost of diapers. It didn't start today and it won't even start today. In 10, 20, 15 years' time, the price of diaper today will not be what it is, whether we like it or not. The price of the cost of delivery in hospitals will increase. Whatever, let's assume it is 10,000 now. Obviously, that if you go to a good hospital, it can't be that. But let's assume it is 10,000 naira. In 5, 10, 15 years' time, it won't be 10,000 naira anymore. And no matter how much more you make by then, there'll still be a part of the current inflation of that time in what you're doing. So, what am I trying to say? You may need to scratch whatever idea that will make you become a dry concrete in your journey of starting a family. And that's the point I'm trying to make. All right. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I hope that we do get that point. Okay. All right. So what then are the things we should put into consideration, put into perspective towards starting a family? Number one is that you start a family when you have attained minimal level of stability in the following things I'm going to mention. Remember, I said minimal level of stability. All right. I'll explain what I mean by minimal level of stability by the time I'm done mentioning these things. Number one is character. Character. All right. If I ask you, who are you? What kind of person are you? Will you be able to tell me who you are? Now, I'm not going to ask that as a question, but if you feel you want to answer it, it's good. You can drop the comments in the comment section or take a book and a paper, sit down, right? And talk about, list your character. What if you're to define yourself? My name is Chomo Okoli. If I'm to define myself, now, if it's difficult for you to identify how to define yourself, you can make use of things. You can, if you're a Christian, okay, even if you're not a Christian, all right, the fruit of the spirit is something that most religion, okay, speak about, even if it's not in the same way that St. Paul mentioned them in the book of Galatians. It's something that everyone who believes in something should know about. Talk about love, talk about joy, talk about all of the fruit of the spirit. How much can you identify yourself in those fruits? You can read more about them in the book of Galatians, chapter 5, the fruit of the spirit. Okay. How much of those fruits can you identify with? Now, if we ask somebody to tell us about you, whatever your name is, how much can they identify? I don't mean any random person, I mean somebody that knows you very well. So, as soon as you have a stable character, or you should start working towards a stable character, that's when you should, it's one of the things you should put in perspective when considering starting a family. Why? Because if you are not loving, right, and you start a family, you'll be a disaster to your spouse. If you are not joyful, you will drain the energy of your spouse. If you are not a good person, right? Your partner will have reasons to complain and seek help, and it can go in dimensions that we didn't think about, and it's going to be because you failed to build your character as a person. And now when the children start coming, of course, starting a family is something that we except where the couple agreed to it, which is really, really strange. A family is a union of a man, a woman, and a child or children. Now, I understand that there are people who would have challenges with achieving conception and having their own child, right? Um, and okay, I'm going to take time to talk about this category of people in the upcoming preconception masterclass that will be coming up on the 26th of this month. That is on Wednesday, to run from Wednesday to Friday. And Friday, particularly, we are going to be talking about what to do when conception is delayed or something like that. Okay. You want to enroll for that class, and it's going to be, it's just 5,000 naira to be in the class. Okay. 5,000 naira for registering just for yourself. If you're coming as a group of 5 persons, a group of five friends or five siblings or however you put it together, you're coming in as a group of 5 persons, there's going to be a discount, okay, to that effect. And any group more than five, like six, seven, and up, we also have another discount um, available to such group of persons. Now, the essence is to reach as much persons as is possible, because there is really a lot in that class. The first day we'll be talking about, we'll be addressing the males. The first day we'll be talking about the males. Um, Being a leader of a family, we're going to be talking about the males in becoming a father beyond the biology of, getting a woman pregnant. What else should you put into consideration? What else should you do? What else should you be involved in? That's what we'll be talking about in the first day. Then the second day we'll be talking about us women. Okay. The period of pregnancy, having children is a whole lot. But you can also turn it to a huge advantage on your part if you know what to do. And that is what I am particularly going to see, that every participant get to that point where they understand what they should, either as a male as female. And then on the third day, we're going to close up with what to do when conception is delayed, because I can't really tell all of the experiences I've had with all of the conversations I've had with people who are finding achieving conception difficult. And most of it is when we just think that we can pray and pray and pray about it, when the solution that is needed is in our hands, just that we do not know how to go forward to reach to it and have it. All right. Okay. So I've taken our time in talking about that. So I'm going to dive right into the next thing that you're going to consider. Now, finance. I'm going to talk about finances and becoming economically useful together. Now, finances is one thing that every one of us knows that it should be in place before we start a family. Everybody knows that, all right? And Chiagozim also answered in that dimension, in that direction, where she said when she's ready all round financially. But financially was first. I love that. Financially was first. Then she mentioned mentally, spiritually, and otherwise. Okay, finances is very important, right? Very, very important. However, it is not to the extent that will push it. Yes, it is important, but not to the extent that will push it. If money is everything we need to have a good family, should we know that? I mean, having families would have been better. It would have been easier, yes, because you know that once you make the money, it's automatic. You have a good family. And then some people would say, what if your spouse starts being marrying you? Or what if your spouse starts abusing you and all of that? You need money to survive. You need money to move away. That's true. But are you hoping to be married to a spouse that will that would be wicked and abusive to you? I want to believe the answer is no, right? So the question should be, especially if you're single, the question should be, how should I choose well? Because whether your spouse is a good person or not, your finances should be or should also be financially literate. Financial literacy and having money, these are two different things too, right? I hope we understand that financial literacy and actually having wealth, they are two different things. You can have money now, but you're not financially literate, and in the long run it will tell. Now, it is impossible for you to be financially literate and you will not have money, so you don't have wealth. Now, I'm not here to talk about finances. It's not my expert. I mean, it's not my area. So I'm not a financial coach or a financial or money expert or stuff like that. But if I can recommend books to you on finances, I would suggest that you get the book, The Psychology of Wealth or The Psychology of Money. If you can get the two of them, beautiful. I've read both. I've read The Psychology of Wealth and The Psychology of Money. The Psychology of Wealth is actually not common. I don't know why, but it's loaded. So if you can't find The Psychology of Wealth, you go get Psychology of Money and read it. Okay? And then we understand that what we want, when we think about finances in building a home, we are looking at having all the luxuries there is, the ones we've seen in movies, the ones we've seen on TikTok, the ones we've seen on Instagram, and all of that. Should you have them? Yes, if you can afford them. Yes. Should we be in 10 countries in 1 year with our spouse and children? Yes, if you can afford it. But what if I cannot be in 10 countries in 1 year? It's still fine. What I said when I started, finances is important in building a home, but not as much as we emphasize on it. Rectified. Okay. All right. Give me a second. I don't know what's going on. It's back. Okay. So I was saying that um we want things to be as we want our wedding, our homes, um how do we put it? We want everything to be just prime and proper, all right? But where we are at the moment, we cannot afford you want so that you can snap and pepper those you pepper online. Yes. It's most times that's the case. That's the case most times. So what do you should come into play, or how much stability before you start, let it be that you have something doing, something legitimate. I'm not talking about all of these wonderful in quotes, wonderful jobs that many of us are doing. You see somebody clearly doing something that is against the law, something that is something clearly against sound morals and what have you, and somebody is doing it. And when you ask the person say, "Yeah, I want to start a family or I want to sustain my family and all of that." Hello, there's something legit that every one of us can do. And please find yourself doing that legit thing. And when you start that legit thing, the earlier you have in raising children or challenges you have in getting to understand when you finally married is not going to be any different if you started when you are 60. If so the concept of the concrete I use, the earlier you start, the better for you, so that whatever needs to be done, whatever changes, whatever adjustment, whatever learning you need to do have to come in when your mind is still pliable and live by them. All right? I'm saying it. So your focus want to build a system that your children will come into. You're building it with them. They are seeing mommy and daddy making this effort while they are still growing up, while they are still growing up. And when they come up, they understand everything that has been going on because they've been there, they were walked into it, they were a part of it, and they understand how it runs. Okay? Because a child you didn't prepare for the wealth you're stacking for the child, that child will give that wealth to somebody else whose parents or who has been prepared to take that place.